who's there?
Hi, my name is DeAndre Weaver. I'm the writer, producer, and star of Mass.
My name is Neal. I'm the director and also producer of Mass.
I'm Sharief Quawee. I am the writer, producer, and actor in All I Have Left Is Memories.
The question I have for the filmmakers is,
Wait, one more.
what was your inspiration for this particular project?
My name is Tagerin
Wait.
Jackson. I was a voice.
Carltaise. Move it.
My name is Tagerin Jackson. I was one of the voice callers, phone callers for this film.
Well, the question I have for the filmmakers is that what was your inspiration for this project, and what was the time span it took for each of you to get this from paper to screen, and what is the mark that you want to leave on the world with your work? You can pick you first.
So the inspiration for Scrunchies was that the team that I work with, Derek and Lisa Ashley, and I made a sort of serious cerebral piece earlier called Tori that did well on the festival circuit. We wanted to do something that was more physical and a little crazier. So I had thoughts about some alcoholic members of my family and how they deal with trauma. And the storyline is that her daughter is the creator, who she's always jealous of, and she kills her family in an accident. And she's tasked with finishing her daughter's treatment. And that's what all the cards on the wall are for, and what she has to get back to in terms of writing. And Derek plays her deceased husband, and he's her vision, pushing her to push forward and get the piece done.
Very good. It was a very powerful piece. You communicated so much without much dialogue.
Right.
And I'm very proud of Lisa Ashley, who was a friend of mine who I met on stage back in like 2013. We were acting together. Very proud of her. She did an excellent job and everything that she's developed since then.
The inspiration behind my film was I kind of really wanted to always talk about what's displayed in the film. I never really had an outlet, so I made this film for a school assignment. And once the assignment was presented, I was like, okay, I can use this as an outlet to finally speak on things that I was wanting to speak about. So that's why I made the film. And then you also asked the time span. I'd say it took me like 2 weeks to write it, shoot it, and edit it, because that had to be done over Thanksgiving break. So that's the mark I want to leave on the world with my work is I always wanted to really express diversity in films, especially in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. I mean, even though it was just me who made this film by myself, in the future, I want to make films that can have people of color behind the camera. And so that's really
As a screenwriter myself and an actor and director, I'm always focused on us black people and portraying us in certain lights that we don't want to get to see. You know.
So we, this film is part of the micro budget film podcast that have a challenge on Twitter. So we saw the challenge was a Halloween film challenge. We weren't allowed to use any type of, the characters weren't allowed to speak. We had to shoot this on a phone, and it had to be using something that was associated with Halloween. So I saw this film challenge, and I was like, how can we make this work? How can we do social commentary? And so I thought about what is a mask? Like a mask is always looking at home. And so I went to Joe, and I said, like, how can we do this? And I wrote up the script, I wrote a treatment. And it was really about just people I worked with before. You know, the DP was a person I worked with for another project. Our editor and our colorist was the editor and colorist of the project I worked with before. So it was all really community-based filmmaking. And as the writer, what I really wanted to explore was the idea of people pleasing, especially when it comes to being a black man in America. How much of yourself do you change to make other people comfortable? And so, how do we all wear that mask? And that's what I really wanted to explore. And as far as the mark I want to leave, I really believe that if you took every black person in America and you said, tell me one story, it would take us thousands of years to tell all those stories. And I really do think that as far as genre expansion, as far as type of film, there's so many different black stories to be told. And so as a creative, I just want to explore more, find new things, do new things, and tell new black stories.
Code switch and put on a face for everybody. You know, I don't got time for all that. You're gonna get me no matter where I'm at. And what's the mark you want to make on the road? What you didn't ask? The mark that you want to make on the road.
Oh, that's yeah.
I kind of have the same thing. Me and I've known Joe my whole life, literally from day one. He's my cousin, so there's just, and we have two completely different upbringings. He went to private school, I went to public school. So just perspective of life, we had two completely different perspectives starting off, even though we still had one common perspective of being family, life, and America, and all that stuff. We had two different kind of moldings from the start of our childhood. So there's just so many different perspectives that we all have. Every single person has a good experience. No one is unique, so no one knows exactly what you feel about certain things. You're the only person that can issue your life that things that you've done at the time that you've done. So there's so many stories that you can tell because of that. So talk to one person and ask. You can talk to every person asking for one story. You'll have stories to make for the rest of the weekends. So just trying to get one of those stories from every person, especially people.
I totally agree with that. And Mr. Sharief, I saved you for last because I knew Miss Shirley, and she was a beautiful spirit. But I know it's been hard for you since you lost her. And so
It literally took 3 years to make this film. 1 year while she was alive, we was working on the first scene, which is actually the last scene she made. Because we had another film we was working on and we was putting it together, then COVID came. Then 4/15, she passed away. She made that last scene 4/13, 2 days prior. And it was a week before her birthday. Wow. So the 2 years came because the healing process never came. And I promised her that I would put something in the film festival while she was here. And we didn't get the chance. And we made several films before that, but I just didn't feel that they was good enough. So I constructed some pieces that we had, but I didn't touch the original film. I took that one piece because that was her last piece that I wanted to remember her by. And the rest of the pieces came from strips, friends, consultant that's in the Melvin Trust, he helped me. Mama T, she helped me. She's one of the voiceover actresses. It was just hard to put it together. And the more I kept talking with people, they didn't tell me to put it out, but I felt like somebody needed to see it. And her family is here. I was so eager to get them here. I wanted to make sure that they seen it because that was her last contribution. And it still hurts to this day. It hurt to even watch it. And while I was editing it, I really didn't even look at it. That's why it looks the way it looked. So it was hard to picture not seeing her, to see it here. And she has been to the film festival quite a few times. And we was always talking about, well, we're gonna do this one better. And we had several films we could have put in, but we just needed to do it better. But she just didn't make it to see it.
Well, I know she's watching, and she's smiling, and she's watching out for you. So, any questions from the audience for the filmmakers or the actors?
I'm Grandmother Edna, and it's not really a question. I just really want to compliment you because I'm sitting here looking at a whole line of very brilliant, bashful gentlemen. And it's like, and just look at y'all standing there like if nobody asked y'all a question, y'all wouldn't say a word. And Sharief did not know you and Shirley, so I'm here in support of my friend and all of your brothers. And I'm telling you, this is what Baltimore, I do, my brand is Black Story Matter. So when I tell people, I'm a grill, so I tell people everywhere I travel, if you don't tell your story, nobody will know about it. Yep. So I just applaud all of y'all. I think it's just needed in Baltimore right now. And the pandemic was needed. It made people love each other. It made people understand each other. It made people closer together and forced you to stay still and think. So y'all are just taking that out. And Sharief, it's good to release.
Thank you.
Now you have to release yourself with that.
A lot of us artists are actually, not all, but a lot of us artists are like quiet when we're not out there to ourselves. So we have to push ourselves. Like I had to push myself as one here and talk to you guys. Okay, so
yeah.
And then
I think I appreciated all of the presentations that you made. I only know one of you, basically, that's Eric. And how do you, Eric, when you're writing this stuff down, and I know you must be constantly thinking to get the impact that you want it to have, how and when do you get to the point where you say, okay, right here, cut it right here, that's the end of it? Like this. When do you call the end? Because if you take it too far, it doesn't have the same impact.
I think every filmmaker feels the same way. You start with an idea, you play with it, you spin it around, it's like Play-Doh. You try and shape it into something, it may or may not feel right, you share it with friends and other creators, relatives, cousins, whatever, fiancés, relatives, and then you just keep working it until it feels like, oh, that's enough, that's it, that feels good. And then, of course, the next part is you hire wonderful actors who read it and have no clue what you're trying to go for, and you're like, oi, and then you go back to scratch and you start over again, and you mold it again. At every step of the process, pre-production, production, editing, all those steps change the nature of the film. And then when you get to the final editor, my editor is sitting in the back looking at me like I'm crazy. This is Neal O'Donnell, he edited my film. When you get to the final edit and you do the first rough look at it, it just feels right in your heart. Like, that's the message I was going for. Even though I didn't know it, that was the message I was going for. So, do you guys agree? Or?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
My name is Scrunchies. I was wondering, was there a special age group you were trying to reach when you did your film?
I wouldn't say there was a special age group, because I feel like people of all ages can like resonate. So I feel like there was no specific age range.
The message is really, it's really powerful. It's superb. I really appreciate it.
One more question?
With the collaborative or individual work that went into creating, what is something that you learned from yourself or the people that you collaborated with that made its way into the film, and maybe something that didn't make it into the film?
All of us?
Yeah.
For me, I like working with people, but this one particular one, I wanted to be me and her. And I just wish that I could expand it and work with a few more people and did a few more things differently. And not, I wouldn't say that we delayed the movie, but we always had to push it back because we had schedules, conflicts. But I wish I had did it quicker.
So I love the Baltimore film community. I think it's amazing. We have incredible talent. I think a lot of people are very reluctant to work together because writer directors are very introverted people by nature. So to expose themselves to other people drives them crazy. But when we get together and we have an idea, concept, script that we love, and we all pull together, that's my motivation. Like when I see the finished product and I get those notices on Film Freeway that you've been into 24 festivals, that means we did something right. So.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, we don't like to be out there like that. You know, I'm on stage. I'm an actor and all that stuff too. But like I said, I'm very laid back and quiet when I'm not on stage. So people don't know that I'm an actor and a singer until I tell them. Because when I'm out and about, I'm like a wallflower.
What's something that you learned within yourself or with others that you worked with that made its way into the film, or that didn't make its way into the film?
So unfortunately for me, I'm in college right now, so I'm like still like finding like what I'm best at in filmmaking, whether that be like directing, writing, cinematography, and especially with this project, I was able to do everything like by myself. So like it forced me to realize what my strengths were, what my weaknesses were, and for future projects, like I would get people that I know can strengthen my film. So like I feel like cinematography wise, I feel like I can get a cinematographer, because that's, I mean, I like cinematography, but I feel like I can find someone who's stronger than that. I feel like I'm a good director, so I feel like I can focus more on that. And just so the film allowed me to see what types of people I can bring in to make my filmmaking strong.
I would say that filmmaking is a very humbling experience. For me, I struggle with asking people for help. To be honest with you, I hate asking people for help. Especially when you're independent filmmaker, you're not going to you're not able to pay everyone the daily rate they would get on a professional set. We were so fortunate to get Mike Kepka. I met him on set of Passcode, which is a short film I did previously a couple months ago. And, we had talked, and I said, hey, do you want to, maybe do this project? And he said yes. Now, Mike has 4 Emmys. I didn't think he would say yes. And the fact that he was willing to help us out and really teach us when we were on set, and then really he was willing to give back to us, it really shows you that community is what this is about. And really you have to let go of your pride and have the boldness to ask somebody for help. And that's really what I learned, and that's really most of the product of that is from him. Just learn from him.
Like you said, Mike came in and did that, helped us for free. So he didn't charge us one penny. And we had to use a cell phone to film because of the original film festival. But we used his phone, and most of his equipment we put together in the location. He was the actor. We got together.
He brought all his own equipment, all of his own lights, and everything. So thankful for that.
he helped us put it together. And most of my films I film by myself. I've done before, especially going through college in the middle of the pandemic. We worked with a bunch of groups of people, and then the pandemic hit, so it was like, now you have to do a silent or a short film at home. So you got to do everything: edit, film, color correct, audio, all by yourself. So switching from that to working with some past 4 years.
Thank you. So I just want to make one last statement before we go. This is for everybody, the audience and the filmmakers. Look up Stream DMV, since there's so much talent here from Baltimore and the DMV area. Stream DMV is a black-owned streaming service, which my film is on right now. It was started by a brother that's also an actor named Asim Amin. My film is on there, and everything on there is from content creators in the DMV area. So check that out.
What's it called again?
Stream DMV.
DMV. Okay.
Yeah, DMV. You know, DC, Maryland, Virginia. Thank you guys.
Stay there, look at the